we really don't think the solution to, we have 50 million orphans in Africa. We don't think the solution is orphanages. Africa has a way to take care of orphans. It's the extended family. They're not nuclear family. When they think of family, it's 40, 50, 60 people. So if father and mother die, uncles and aunts, grandparents, there's somebody in the extended family that will step up and take care of the child. They have a way to take care, they always have. They have a way to take care of orphans. Sometimes there is a total destitute situation where we do need some orphanages. But it's much cheaper and much more effective to find a way to help families keep the children in their families. And that's what Karen does. She's trying to equip or empower the extended families to take care of the children when the mother is dead or is unable to adequately care for them. And then a lot of the children that Karen is helping are children to teenage mothers. It isn't so much that these young teenage girls, their fault, because you know, it's hard for us to understand, but when you get in a lot of these countries, women do not have much control over their bodies. A woman can't take birth control without her husband's permission, and you can't give her birth control if you don't have you can get big trouble if you do that. That's just to give you an example. But we have a lot of girls, teenage girls, young teenage girls. They're wrong place, wrong time. They get raped. It's against the law, but nobody does anything about it. We knew one case where a girl had been raped. We knew who the offender was. She knew who it was. We went to the police and reported, and they said, well, if you bring the young man in and he confesses, we'll prosecute. In other words, don't bother us with this. And also, it doesn't help that in Africa there's this idea that if you have HIV/AIDS and you have relations with a teenage virgin, a young virgin, that will cure you of your HIV/AIDS. So that's like putting a bullseye on the back of 12, 13, 14-year-old girls. So we got a lot of problem with this, teenage girls. And it's not her fault, and this girl gets pregnant. And her parents often will kick her out of the family, and she runs off to an aunt or a grandparent or something. And so those are a lot of I'd say most of the babies that Karen is helping are teenage mothers or widowed grandmothers that are trying to take care of her kids, grandkids, because the parents have died or something has happened to them. So that's a lot of what Karen is doing. And if you're interested in helping as an individual, because a lot of this work is done with the Christian school and the orphan, is a lot of the funding, most of the funding is coming from individuals. So if you have a desire, you want to help kids, these are the most vulnerable people in the world, right? You're not going to find anybody who's more vulnerable than the children we're helping in Zambia. So if you want to, as an individual, help, there's some brochures back there. You can pick those up, and if you want to make a difference in someone's life, this is a way to do it. Let me talk the rest of the time about the Bible College. This is the area that I primarily focus on. Lori and Karen kind of have their area. So you see, this is a family affair. We all have our areas of focus. But my focus is primarily on the Bible College. We have a nice campus now, 50 acres. We got a nice big auditorium, and in the back of it, we got a really nice big classroom where we can do combined classes. Because when I'm there, or we have a visiting teacher from the U.S. that goes in to teach, I will bring all the students together, first year, second year, third year students, and their wives, and our Bible College teachers and their wives come in, and we teach all of them. So when I'm over there, I teach all of the students. We got this nice big classroom that's also the first year student classroom. Then we have a classroom for the second year students, and then we have a classroom for the third year students, which is in our office building that also has our library in it. And we have a classroom for the women's program. We require all of our students who are married, for you to come to our school, your wife has to also agree to come and go through the women's program. If your wife isn't willing to do that, then you can't come to our school. That's how important we are, because we teach the women Bible, ministry, agriculture, sewing, health care, nutrition, food preservation, nutrition, just all kinds of things we teach them. Because the reason we want to train the women is this reason. If you want to disseminate information in Africa, tell the women. Don't waste your time telling the men. You teach the men, they're not going to share that information. They're going to find a way to use that to make money, right? You don't want to share what you know. You want to use it to make, information's power, right? But you tell the women, they talk. They talk with one another because they're in the job of saving their kids. And they are helping each other in the village. So we've learned if you really want to help people in Africa, tell the women. That information will spread far and wide. So we really want to teach the women. They're the avenue of disseminating information and innovation in Africa. We have 30 married student apartments. They're just 3 rooms, no indoor plumbing or kitchens. That's all outside because we don't want to increase their standard of living. Our students come from the bush. We want them to go back to the bush. And then we have also have a dormitory for some of our single students. We have a good Bible teaching staff there. These men and women have been with me now for quite a few years. I've spent a lot of time training these teachers. When I'm over there, I spend a lot of time training them as well. And we have a director, Dennis, who is a one of the most spiritual men I've met in Africa, a very spiritual man. So I made him the director of the program, as you're going to see in a minute, because spiritual transformation is what we're really all about. Now, we also have a full-time agriculture teacher. You'll understand why in a second. So we started in 2015 when we moved from our old campus where we were there for 10 years. We moved to a new campus at Daybreak in 2015. And we went from a 2-year to a 3-year program. And we just totally overhauled our whole way we did everything. Our whole training program, every facet of it was a major overhaul in 2015. And I said, I want to have married students. I want 75% because at the old campus we had dormitories and most of the students were either unmarried or they were there without their wives. And when we went to our new campus, I want married student apartments, not dormitories. I want their wives to come with them. 75% of our students must be married, and they have to bring their wife who will go through the women's program. And now we're getting more serious about recruiting older, more mature men who are already engaged in ministry. We get recommendations from their home congregation, and we interview them before we invite them to come to our school. We vet them because we want to try to pick the best. We got more people wanting to come to our school than we got room, so we try to pick the very best quality student coming in to train. We have had over 750 graduates that have gone through our training program, and I'm just throwing up some pictures of our last few graduating classes. And I'll tell you, the students that have now graduated from our new training program are far, far better than the students that we were producing when we were at Mapepe. I mean, I don't know how to make this any better than what it is now, but there was a long learning curve. It took 10 years of experience to learn how to try to get this together and do it right. But I'm really happy. And let's see, I didn't put the picture. I have a picture. We just had graduation yesterday. So I've got another picture for 2024. I thought I put it in there, but I guess I didn't. Anyway, we just had our graduation yesterday, a whole nother batch of students. So, you know, we're cranking out. If we crank out 12 students every year and their wives, you know, you keep doing that year after year, that's going to have an impact in Zambia, right? You put in good quality students, they're going to have an impact as time goes on. Now, I want to talk about our training program. Our focus is on developing the spiritual life and character of our students. That is our number one priority. I learned that it's a whole lot more is needed than just teaching a bunch of information. This is not to say that other Bible colleges are not also trying to develop the life and character of the student. The problem is I just don't think they got the right methodology to do it. And I say that because I learned the hard way. We've been doing this 20 years, and I learned that if all we do is have classes and we run people through our curriculum and give them a diploma as they go out the door, it doesn't get the job done. Because, you know, you can have a lot of information. It doesn't mean that you have changed. And I realize we're doing a lot of teaching, but I'm not seeing a lot of change in people's lives going as they're graduating. And I began to ask, why not? What do we need to do? And I started realizing we got to do something more than just having classroom teaching. And that's almost what every Bible college does. It's just you go through their curriculum, you get a diploma, and there you're supposed to be ready for ministry. And I found out in Africa that ain't enough. So I began to ask, what do you do? So we have a mission statement. This very much describes what we are doing. This is not some thing we wrote up and it's irrelevant. This very much defines very much what we're doing. We're there to train and develop self-supporting spiritual leaders who are equipped for holistic rural ministry. There are 3 parts to that. We want them to be self-supporting because we don't want them to be a burden to the churches. We also want to equip them to do holistic ministry, ministering both to the physical and the spiritual needs of people in the villages. And most importantly, we want to develop them as spiritual leaders. That is really the bottom line, and that is the thing that I focus on the most. That's what I am most concerned. I mean, as far as our priorities, here are all our priorities, but here is spiritual transformation. It is far and above what we're focused on. So that means what our primary focus is